So the spills law is a bedrock environmental and public health protection that has been on the books in our state since 1978, for over 40 years. It stands for the idea that if a corporation or other entity pollutes the water or contaminates the soil, they are responsible for cleaning it up. It really is as simple as that. The spills law has taken on greater significance in the last several years as communities have confronted PFAS contamination. PFAS are manufactured compounds. They're sometimes called forever chemicals because they don't break down in the environment.
And these chemicals have been around for over 50 years. There's over 3,000 of them. They are used in our products to repel water and oil. So they are in our shoes that are water repellent, our jackets that are water repellent. So they are in the firefighting foam. However, we really didn't totally understand the downsides of PFAS until studies have been done that show that it is linked to many health issues. It is now contaminating our drinking water across the nation.
All across the state of Wisconsin, we're seeing contamination from PFAS and other chemicals. And more communities, the more we test, the more we learn, the more we find out. So Marinette, Peshtigo, Wausau, Rhinelander, La Crosse, Eau Claire, just too many communities across the state are finding PFAS at levels in their water where it's not safe to drink.
Science is increasingly showing that they are toxic in very, very small quantities. And as communities have realized that they have PFAS contamination problems, they have depended on the spills law to protect them and hold polluters accountable. What's more, the arguments that WMC is making about PFAS and the spills law don't just apply to PFAS, but they apply to a host of other toxic substances. There's not a community in the state of Wisconsin that has not benefited from the state being able to quickly come in and hold polluters accountable for investigating and cleaning up toxic contamination.
So the Wisconsin Environmental Health Network is a group of clinicians, and our goal is to advocate and educate about the link between environmental issues and human health. So the reason that we got involved in this lawsuit is the spills law is essential to maintaining our health here for the Wisconsinites. Oftentimes when it comes to a toxin in the environment, it's the most vulnerable who are the most affected.
Because this is one of the only tools the Department of Natural Resources has to help individuals and communities take action when there's a toxic spill in their community.
Communities that stand most to lose right now are communities in and around former industrial sites. And those tend to be low-income communities and communities of color. So there's just so much at stake for justice and environmental justice in this lawsuit. And so when we saw WMC's lawsuit, we understood what was at stake and the wider implications, not just for communities confronting PFAS contamination, but for the entire efficacy of the spills law. And so we called our coalition partners together. We called a wider network of groups and advocates together and talked about what was at stake and jointly developed a strategy.
By collaborating with other environmental groups and showing the health effects of environmental issues, we bring a different voice. And who isn't for human health? I mean, if there's something that's going to have a negative impact on health, people pay attention.
A lot of what we did in this collaboration together was talk about messaging. Who's going to say what? What important messages do we need to get out to which audiences that this case was important to? So that piece of collaboration was one of the essential pieces to all of us working together. We also learned more about each other through this process, and we have even stronger relationships now. And for River Alliance, Midwest environmental advocates in particular brought some local groups like Citizens for a Clean Wausau to this case, which we didn't know very well. So we also got to know others across the state that we now have deeper relationships with and are working with.
We are taking on the most powerful lobbying and business interest group in the state of Wisconsin.
The more voices we get together, the more power we have.
If we act as individuals, individual organizations, or individual people, we will likely lose. But together we are much stronger, and I think we've already shown that we can win.